Looking for an online learning site in a class of its own? David Pogue has a suggestion.
If you've been on Facebook or YouTube lately, you've probably seen these ads for MasterClass.
Let's get started.
Video courses between 4 and 8 hours long, taught by really famous people. Serena Williams on tennis.
This is a recipe for disaster because it's gonna go flat and you're gonna miss a lot of shots. So it's important to drop your wrist.
Are we rolling?
Steve Martin on comedy.
Welcome to Steve Martin's MasterClass. Let's try another one, right? I'm Steve Martin. Thank you for signing up for MasterClass. I'm Steve Martin. Oh, I said that.
Jane Goodall on conservation.
Basically, that means this is me, this is Jane.
And so on. CEO David Rogier founded MasterClass in 2015.
I started trying to figure out, okay, how can I get a hold of the best people in the world? How can I cold call them, cold email them to ask them to teach? And they started saying yes.
And during the pandemic, customers also said yes to MasterClass.
Watch out, world.
An armchair observer might say, wow, did MasterClass get lucky when the pandemic came along? I mean, it fell into your lap.
Obviously, we never anticipated a pandemic. I wish it never happened. What we saw, the impact on our business, there were weeks in this past year where we saw demand spike by over 1,000%.
Salil Datsun contributed to that spike. He's a Brooklyn filmmaker who became something of a MasterClass superfan. Can you list the ones you've watched?
Oh yeah, let's go. Spike Lee, David Lynch, Aaron Sorkin, David Mamet, really interesting guy. You know what, and I even watched Gordon Ramsay. I don't cook, but I'm just interested.
Be careful. Thumb over the end, did lays. Beautiful. So beautiful.
Some of the film-related people.
Spike Lee's number one on my list.
Easiest way to have a revolt on your set is not feed your crew.
I'm like incredibly influenced by him and everything he's done.
A lot of preparation. It makes the actual writing much easier.
When I saw Spike's MasterClass, I had no projects, no film projects. And so it definitely lit a fire under me to just get started, just do it.
Inspired by Spike Lee's course, during the pandemic, he began making 2-minute films like this one, just to hone his skills.
I've always wanted to be my own boss, and it's so important for my boys to see this ownership.
This is a character who's desperately trying to look younger than she really is. You know, it's got a whole little girly thing going on with it.
I was very flattered that I should be asked, but I was incredibly resistant because I didn't feel that I had anything to contribute. But what was really interesting was once I started, this flood of stuff came to me. It was funny, I didn't realize it was in there. I had no idea.
And now we're ready to go.
Helen Mirren has been busy during the pandemic, too. She has 2 new projects coming out this year. But 3 years ago, she became a MasterClass instructor. What was the appeal to you to do one of these MasterClass projects?
You know, if you go to a class in a university, you know, maybe you've got 40 people in front of you. Here, you know, you can communicate with people all over the world. It's fantastic. When I'm given a script nowadays, I never look at the front of it. I immediately turn to the back page. And I see if my character is in the last scene.
And there were a lot of good tips in there. I mean, you start reading screenplays that are pitched to you from the last scene.
I know, that's terrible. It's my awful venal secret. That's pure ego. If it's a great scene, it's a great role.
We've never really given a whole course in how to really do magic, how to really become a magician. And if you're smart enough to work silently,
Magicians Penn and Teller teach a MasterClass too. Teller, of course, never speaks during performances.
When you don't talk, the audience has to tell itself the story, and they don't know where it's going.
But you hear a lot of them in his MasterClass.
And now you say, okay, that hand has the wand, this hand has the ball, and now, oh, the ball's vanished.
Oh, that's dope. When I first met him, was a high school teacher. He taught Latin and Greek. But there is this part of Teller, this teaching part and this philosophical part that has not been represented, in my opinion, enough.
Each course is filmed like a Hollywood movie. The instructor chooses the curriculum and gets final approval over the finished videos.
We shot the whole MasterClass on the Penn and Teller Theater stage here in Vegas, and they brought in a whole film crew. Now it's magic. You can watch all the MasterClasses for pure entertainment.
Do you hear from people? Do you read the reviews?
The feedback we've gotten has been very positive, but then again, most people are polite.
But it's not all rave reviews for MasterClass. For starters, it's $180 a year.
I'm Britney Spears, and this is my master school.
Which, as this Saturday Night Live parody suggests, isn't cheap.
Still, just as expensive.
You have to find your own way. I mean, there are no manuals.
And even though they're called courses, there are no tests, no grades, no office hours, and no questions for the instructor. That's too bad, according to Salil Datsun.
I think that's one thing that would be kind of cool. Like, let's set up a live Q&A with the instructor, blah, blah, blah. That would be dope.
Still, the formula seems to be working. Last year, venture capitalists poured $100 million into the company. This year, MasterClass hopes to add 50 new celebrity courses. CEO David Rogier believes that this format can actually be better than formal training.
I think we are at the intersection of learning and of entertainment. If you ask most people if they like school, most people will say no. Ask those same people if they love to learn, they'll all say yes. What we do at MasterClass is try to bring the joy back to learning.